Hi, everyone, and welcome to A Little Piece of Amy with me, Amy Sinha. I'm a singer, presenter, and voiceover artist, and I've never actually used my voice until now. I have finally decided to rectify this and created a blog called A Little Piece of Amy, a series of short, memorable stories from my life. Being disabled from childhood, I have experienced constant trauma, hardships, anxiety, and stress. But I have also experienced a lot of funny, bizarre, and life altering moments too. So, are you ready to be taken on that journey of fun, growth, and exploration with me? Here goes. So, I never used to read much growing up due to the fact that having cataracts at the age of 1 did leave me almost blind. Because of this, I used to avoid reading as much as possible. My parents and the teachers at school understood this. They realized how focusing on the words was difficult for me, so they never really pushed me to read much. But I did watch a lot of TV, and I used to absolutely love watching sci fi and supernatural dramas and films. So, although my mind expanded a lot watching all of these programs, I never experienced that epiphany that I needed. However, after I graduated from music college, I started reading all the books that I should have read and never did. Why I wanted to read so much at that particular time is still a mystery I cannot explain to this day. But during this time, I also found that I loved reading spiritual books. My mum used to love to read them too, which I did not know about. So we already had those kind of books in the cupboard on the shelf. Now, one of those books on the shelf changed my whole reality. A major statement to make, I know, but one I feel warrants the magnitude of what happened. Now, if someone had said to me in my teens that reading a book would ultimately alter the course of your life, I would have laughed at them, not in a, I find this hysterically funny kind of way, but more like a, you're insane kind of way. But reading a book did indeed achieve this. What was this amazing book called, you may be wondering? Well, the book was entitled Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. Now, for those of you who have never read the book or have even heard of the book, here are the cliff notes. So, Conversations with God is about a man called Neil who, while feeling very low, writes a letter to God. As Neil keeps writing his deep questions, he claims to find that God is answering him and so has a conversation with God through automatic handwriting. And what was so life changing about a book that seemed like a relatively standard book you tend to see everywhere these days? Yes, I asked myself the same question. But for me, this was the first time I had even contemplated the notion of creating one's own reality. A few years previously, my sister had made me watch The Secret. So I was aware of some of the law of attraction concepts. I even practiced positive affirmations I read in You Can Heal My Life by Louise Hay, which, in case you're interested in, that actually did help me and my confidence. But I never thought about this whole concept of creating your future in any serious way. I grew up in an Indian family and my parents were Hindus. So the whole concept of destiny and meant to be was just such a big belief system for me throughout the whole of my life. And even though I did love the concept of, meant to be, I found it a very restrictive way of thinking. And so this new concept really did make me start to reconsider all of my ideas and think outside the box, as it were. But then, yeah, I used to ask myself, how did I create my own disabilities? My eyesight was the first of my disabilities I encountered over the years. Surely as a child, I was incapable of such a major life occurrence. I still debate these questions, which I haven't yet found the answers to. But, the baby steps were taken and the small seeds were planted in my mind from that moment. But after reading Conversations with God, I experienced a strange happening. Ooh, I know. Stephen King, eat your heart out. That night, as I finished reading the book, I was kind of playing around with some of the passages where God said to Neil something along the lines of, ask me anything and I will answer you. So just out of fun, I kind of said out loud, God, do you love me? I thought it was a little bit of a ridiculous thing to do after I'd done it. So I came downstairs, put the TV on, and I was channel hopping for just a few seconds. Then, for some reason, I kind of stopped on a film, and this female teacher in a classroom of deaf kids signing, and she was signing to this little girl while speaking out loud. And she said, Amy, we love you. Now, I won't lie, I did get a little freaked out. I looked up and around a little bit and I kind of said a quick thank you. And then I ran upstairs and hid under the duvet. But since that moment, I have always had an inner knowing that if I wanted something and I set my mind to it, I could make it happen. However, I didn't recognize it or even admit it to myself on a conscious level until years later. I am now a voiceover artist simply because I decided I was going to become one. This literally would not have happened if I had not read that book. It really is amazing what you can be when you allow your mind to believe it. Thank you all so much for jumping on board and letting me tell you my quirky story. If you would like to ask me a question, have had any similar happenings happen to you, or a story you would just like to share, please get in touch with me via my website, amysinha.com, or leave a comment on my social media. Until next time, when I'll be sharing with you how being the size of a fairy altered my life. Cannot wait to share that with you, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.